This is the most absolute disturbing experience I had with my friend. Let's call her Sarah. Sarah and I went for vacation, just the two of us, to this Airbnb apartment in a calm neighborhood. We were exploring the place. It was pretty cool. We liked it, cozy and all. We unpacked our bags, freshened up, and went outside to explore the area. We went back at 11 p.m. and immediately we felt something odd. I guarantee my life I left the living room lights off. It was on. Okay, no worries, Sarah was just telling me. You probably forgot or something. I brushed it off, not taking it as big of a deal. At first, I thought probably the owner came in. But, anyways, we went to the kitchen to make dinner while talking about Sarah's deceased boyfriend and how much she misses him. We had our dinner while watching The Conjuring 2. In bed, we kept hearing loud banging at 2 a.m. from neighbors. It was really hard to get a good night's sleep because of the noises, but we managed to sleep anyways. Suddenly, Sarah's phone starts ringing. Who's calling at this time? I said to Sarah. I looked at her. She was pale, like she was a ghost. I asked her, what's wrong? She received a text from Liam, her deceased boyfriend, saying, I miss you. What kind of sick joke is that? Of course, she tried to answer, asking, who's this and why are you using Liam's phone? No answer. We kind of lost sleep. It was 4 a.m. Sarah was still spamming the number and calling, and of course, straight to voicemail. I kept feeling some strange vibe, like someone is watching us or something. I didn't feel comfortable. Then she received another text. Help me, it's cold and dark down there. I honestly was shitting my pants. Sarah, on the other hand, was furious that someone was playing with her emotions that way. And then she kept receiving texts that only they knew about and some weird, disturbing pictures. She received a phone call from him. She picked it up. She could only hear some sort of breathing. It was really weird. After that night, we kept having some unexplained things happen. Like every time we go out and come back, we find things misplaced. And Liam's phone is on, and all of these things were really disturbing for me. Can anyone explain what is this? Is it really her boyfriend trying to text her from the other side? I don't even think that's possible. This story is my mother's. Yes, it's real, but I wasn't alive to witness it. My mother grew up in an old house that always had an unsettling vibe to it. Even when I, as a kid, went to this house, I had always gotten an unsettling feeling. My mother owned an old antique doll. It was one of her favorites. She used to have a crib where she would put all of her dollies and toys. One particular night, her friend came over. The doll was propped up on the crib in the front of all the other stuffed animals. My mother's friend did not like the doll. It freaked her out. She begged my mother to put it away, but my mother refused. My mother's room was upstairs, and when she came up the stairs, there was this little door. It was a storage room. There was old boxes, tons of dust in this room, probably from decades ago. Nobody has really been in this room, and even now, I haven't been in this room and don't plan on it. But in the very back of the storage room was a big pit. It fell to the ground and went lower than the house. The pit was not accessible no matter how hard you tried. It was all dirt and very steep. There would be no way to climb out. That afternoon, the friend took the doll without my mother looking and threw it all the way in the back of the storage room. It fell down the pit. You could hear it hit the ground. My mother watched her throw it, but couldn't react fast enough. My mother was upset, but not upset enough to get mad at her friend. Because after all, it was just some old antique doll that she got years ago. They both laughed it off. Neither was bothered, and the friend was satisfied. They both went along with their night, and as bedtime approached, the night went silent. Soon they fell asleep. The very next morning, they woke up to see the doll was propped up in the same spot on the crib. Though we all live in the States now, my father grew up in northern England. Anyone who has spent time up there knows that, especially in cities like York, stories of hauntings are very common. The whole country feels like it's run by ghosts sometimes. My father was a kid when this took place, but my uncle, who is 5 years older, has also attested to the story's validity. Not only are the cities haunted, but an epicenter of these haunts appear to be the variety of old cathedrals that are common all over the country. My father and my uncle were visiting one of the behemoths, and for whatever reason, my grandparents were outside already, and the two kids had lagged behind. These cathedrals are usually well decorated and beautiful, so it is fairly common to go in the off hours and spend time touring, even when no one else is around. As my father was on his way out, all of a sudden the boys hear a short tune played on the organ upstairs. In a building so large, the organ can be massive, so when they are played, it's a hard thing to miss. My father and uncle thought there was no one else in the building with them, so curiously, they wandered up to the spiral staircase to see who was there. As my uncle got to the top of the stairs, he turned in the direction of the organ and went pale. He looked like he couldn't quite figure out what he was staring at. My dad peered over the balcony ledge to see what drew such a reaction from my uncle. Apparently, not only was there no one up there, the organ was also locked up tight, and upon looking around further, they couldn't conclude that there wasn't even another way off the balcony other than the staircase they came up. My father has described this feeling as a massive weight drop in his stomach and dread overcoming him. Both kids tore out of the cathedral as fast as they could. I have asked my dad a ton of questions over the years about this incident to try to get as much context as I can. What he has told me is that even if there was another way off the balcony, the amount of time between the organ playing and them getting to the top of the stairs was probably about 20 seconds. Likely not enough time to close the organ up and magically disappear. Hard to pull off, even for a ghost. I don't believe my dad ever went back there.